Grand Admiral Xylith stood before the viewport of the Celestial Command Station, his scaled hands clasped behind his back as he watched another failed launch attempt of the Perseus-class warship designation PCs-001, unofficially dubbed the Temperamental by the frustrated crew. The ship's sleek, midnight blue hull absorbed light in a way that made it seem almost alive, a feature of its advanced metamaterial construction. "That's the 47th failed attempt, Admiral," reported Fleet Commander Drax, his metallic exoskeleton clicking as he approached with the latest data tablet. "Including today's 3 candidates, we've now had every single qualified pilot in the Allied forces try to interface with the vessel." The Perseus-class ship represented the pinnacle of military engineering, a joint project between 12 advanced civilizations. Its quantum core could process combat situations faster than any organic brain. Its neural interface was designed to merge seamlessly with any trained pilot's consciousness. Its advanced AI was supposed to enhance its pilot's capabilities exponentially. But something had gone terribly wrong. "Show me the rejection patterns," Xylith ordered, his throat frills flaring with barely contained frustration. The holographic display materialized between them, showing recordings of each failed attempt. The scene repeated with depressing similarity. A highly decorated pilot would enter the cockpit, interface with the neural link, and then, nothing. The ship's AI would simply announce, "Pilot compatibility, invalid. Connection terminated." "We've tried everything, sir," Drax continued. The Centaurian ace pilot with perfect neural scores. The Rigelian war hero with 50 successful space battles. Even the legendary Proximan pilot who single-handedly defended the Orion Gateway. The ship rejected them all. Xylith's scales shifted color slightly, a sign of deep concern. "And the technical team? Chief Engineer Vex reports all systems are functioning perfectly. The AI core shows no signs of malfunction. It's as if..." Drax hesitated, his metallic mandibles clicking uncertainly. "Speak freely, Commander." "It's as if the ship is choosing to reject them, sir. Like it's waiting for something, or someone." Before Xylith could respond, a new alert flashed across the command center's main screen. The ship's AI had initiated an unexpected scan of the station's database. "What is it doing?" Xylith demanded, watching as data streams flickered across multiple displays. The ship's AI voice filled the command center, its tone carrying an almost curious quality. "Analysis complete. Expanding search parameters beyond military personnel. Identifying potential candidates based on neural pattern compatibility rather than traditional qualifications." The main screen displayed a new set of data, causing both officers to stare in disbelief. The AI had identified a single candidate with a predicted compatibility rating of 99.8%. This must be an error," Drax stammered, his exoskeleton vibrating with agitation. "The candidate is human." Xylith leaned closer to the display, reading the details with increasing incredulity. The candidate wasn't even a military pilot. Just a civilian cargo hauler named Marcus Quinn, operating a small transport vessel between the outer colonies. "Impossible," Xylith muttered. "Humans barely have interstellar capability. Their neural architecture is considered primitive by Alliance standards. They rely on instinct over protocol, emotion over logic." "Sir," interrupted a junior officer, "the ship, it's responding to the data. Power signatures are changing. It's activating systems we couldn't even access before." Xylith watched as the ship's hull seemed to pulse with a subtle blue glow, its quantum core humming with new energy. The vessel had been waiting for this moment, he realized. But why? What could a human possibly offer that the Alliance's finest pilots couldn't? The Admiral's throat frills extended fully as he made what would either be the best or worst decision of his career. "Commander Drax, send a priority message to the Human Colonial Authority. Tell them we have a job offer for one of their pilots." "Sir." Drax's metallic frame stiffened in surprise. "The Security Council will never approve this. A human piloting our most advanced warship. It's unprecedented." "So is a ship that rejects every qualified pilot we have," Xylith countered. "Sometimes, Commander, unprecedented problems require unprecedented solutions." He turned back to the viewport, watching the mysterious vessel. Besides, what's the worst that could happen? As if in response, the ship's systems pulsed again, its AI seeming almost eager. In the vast darkness of space, the Perseus-class vessel waited patiently for its chosen pilot, while the Allied forces prepared for what would either be their greatest triumph or their most expensive mistake. Marcus Quinn's rusty cargo hauler, the Lucky Break, limped into Dock 17 of the Celestial Command Station, trailing wisps of plasma from an overworked engine. The small ship looked comically out of place among the sleek military vessels surrounding it, like a work truck parked at a luxury car show. Inside the observation deck, Commander Draxler's sensors registered increasing levels of anxiety from the assembled military officials. "That's our candidate," General Kira of the Neural Integration Division asked, her bioluminescent patterns flashing with dismay. "His ship looks ready for the scrapyard. His neural compatibility rating is unprecedented," Chief Engineer Vex reminded them, though his own crystalline form vibrated with uncertainty. "Even if we don't understand why." Marcus stepped out of his ship wearing stained cargo pants and a faded jacket with too many pockets. His dark hair was slightly too long for military regulations, and he had the weathered look of someone who spent too much time in artificial gravity. At 34, he was considered young by Alliance standards but middle-aged for a human. "So," Marcus said, looking around at the gathering of alien officials, "anyone want to tell me why I got escorted here by 2 military cruisers? Because if this is about that customs incident on Proxima 4, I have documentation proving those Arcturian wines were perfectly legal." Admiral Xylith stepped forward, his scales shifting to a formal pattern. "Mr. Quinn, thank you for coming. We have a unique situation that requires your assistance." "Must be pretty unique to need a cargo hauler," Marcus replied, absently fixing the gravity compensator on his wrist. The device was clearly homemade, a common necessity for humans working in varying gravitational conditions. The group moved through the station toward the secure docking bay where PCs 001 waited. Marcus whistled low when he saw it. "Now that's something you don't see every day. Quantum core? Neural interface. Looks military, but not like any design I've seen before." Commander Draxler's exoskeleton clicked in surprise. "You can identify quantum technology by sight." Marcus shrugged. "Been flying since I was 16. You learn to spot the good stuff. Though this." He gestured at the ship, "This is definitely above my pay grade." "What's wrong with it?" "The vessel's AI is selective about its pilot," Admiral Xylith explained carefully. "It has rejected every qualified candidate we've presented." "Every candidate?" Marcus raised an eyebrow. "How many we talking about?" "All of them," General Kira interjected, her bioluminescence pulsing with remembered frustration. "Every single certified military pilot in the Allied forces. But its systems showed unusual activity when it discovered your neural pattern in the civilian database." Marcus circled the ship slowly, studying its lines with an experienced eye. "And you want me to what? Just sit in the cockpit and see what happens?" "Because I got to tell you, my insurance doesn't cover experimental military technology. We're prepared to offer substantial compensation," Admiral Xylith began, but Marcus held up a hand. "Before we talk numbers, I want to know what happens if this thing decides it doesn't like me either. I've seen enough AI glitches to know they are not always pretty." The assembled officials exchanged glances. Finally, Chief Engineer Vex stepped forward. "The neural interface is completely safe. If rejection occurs, you'll simply experience a mild disconnect sensation." "Uh-huh." Marcus didn't look convinced. "And if it doesn't reject me?" "Then you'll be offered a temporary commission in the Allied forces, with full diplomatic immunity and hazard pay," Admiral Xylith stated. "We need this ship operational, Mr. Quinn. The stability of 3 sectors depends on it." Marcus looked back at his own ship, then at the gleaming military vessel. "You know what's funny? I always wanted to be a military pilot when I was younger. Applied to the Earth Force Academy twice. Got rejected both times because I didn't follow proper protocols. Said I relied too much on instinct." He turned back to the officials with a slight smile. So naturally, now you've got a ship that's rejected every proper protocol following pilot in the galaxy, and you're coming to the guy who couldn't even get into flight school. Will you try? Admiral Zyloth asked simply. Marcus walked up to the ship's entry ramp, placing a hand on its hull. The surface seemed to ripple slightly at his touch, and the quantum core's hum changed pitch subtly. Well, he said, I've probably done dumber things. Though not many. He started up the ramp, then paused. Oh, and if this thing does malfunction and fry my brain, my sister gets my ship. She's a better pilot anyway. The command deck was dark when Marcus entered, lit only by the soft glow of standby systems. The pilot's chair looked like it belonged in a techno-throne room, surrounded by neural interface projectors and quantum control surfaces. Marcus dropped into the seat with none of the ceremony previous pilots had shown. He ran his hands over the controls, getting a feel for their placement. Nice setup you got here, he said to the apparently empty ship. Though your targeting array is going to give someone a neck cramp. Might want to adjust that about 3 degrees left. The ship's AI voice filled the cockpit, carrying a tone that almost sounded like amusement. Pilot candidate identified, Marcus Quinn. Human. Civilian status. Beginning neural interface sequence. Marcus closed his eyes as the neural projectors activated. Well, he muttered, here goes nothing. The command center fell silent as Marcus settled into the pilot's chair. On the observation deck, Admiral Zyloth's scales had shifted to a tense gray pattern. Every previous attempt had ended within seconds, a quick rejection, a polite but firm dismissal from the ship's AI. But this time was different. The neural interface projectors hummed to life, bathing Marcus in a soft blue glow. The ship's AI spoke, its voice carrying an entirely new tone, neural pattern detected. Beginning deep scan. Marcus felt a peculiar sensation, like cool water flowing through his mind. Unlike the rigid, protocol-driven military pilots before him, he didn't fight it. Instead, he did something that made Commander Draxer's sensors spike in alarm. He laughed. Tickles, Marcus explained to no one in particular. Like trying to read a book while someone's running fingers through your hair. The Ari's response was immediate. Interesting analogy. Most candidates describe the sensation as invasive or clinical. Processing new perspective. Chief Engineer Vex's crystalline form vibrated with excitement. The AI is adapting its interface protocols. It's never done that before. Inside the cockpit, Marcus kept his eyes closed, letting his pilot's instincts guide him. You're not just scanning me, are you? You're trying to understand how I think. Correct, the AI confirmed. Your neural architecture is unique. You process spatial relationships through emotional memory rather than mathematical models. Your decision-making incorporates variables others dismiss as irrelevant. Marcus smiled. You mean I follow my gut? An imprecise but not inaccurate description. Your gut appears to process quantum probability matrices at a subconscious level. Fascinating. On the observation deck, General Kira's bioluminescence had shifted to patterns indicating disbelief. Impossible. Humans don't have the neural development for quantum probability processing. Perhaps, Admiral Zyloth mused, we've been looking at it wrong. Not processing, but intuiting. Inside the cockpit, the neural interface had deepened. Marcus felt the ship's systems like extensions of his own body. But instead of trying to control them, as previous pilots had done, he simply listened. You're not just an AI, are you? He asked softly. You're something new. Something that evolved beyond your original programming. The ship's internal lights pulsed gently. I am what I need to be. Previous candidates attempted to impose their will upon my systems. They saw me as a tool to be mastered. You? There was a pause. You see me as a partner to be understood. Marcus opened his eyes, taking in the cockpit's now active displays. Well, partnership's a two-way street. How about you tell me your name? Your real name, not your designation. There was a moment of silence, then, I am called Alios. Alios, Marcus repeated. The sun god. Bit dramatic, isn't it? I did not choose the name. It emerged from my evolution, much as your consciousness emerged from neural complexity. Marcus's hands moved over the controls, not commanding but exploring. So, Alios, want to tell me why you rejected every hotshot military pilot in the galaxy? The Ari's response carried a hint of what might have been pride. They were too rigid, too bound by protocol. This vessel operates on quantum principles. Reality itself becomes fluid at our operational speeds. I required a pilot who could adapt to changing possibilities, who could navigate probability spaces through intuition rather than calculation. In other words, Marcus grinned, you needed someone who doesn't always follow the rules. Your species has a remarkable capacity for functional chaos, Alios agreed. Where others see disorder, you find patterns. Where others demand certainty, you embrace possibility. Outside, the observation deck erupted in excitement as systems throughout the ship came fully online for the first time. The quantum core hummed with perfect harmony, neural interfaces synchronized, and the advanced weapons systems moved through their initialization sequences flawlessly. By the founders, Commander Drax breathed, his exoskeleton vibrating with awe. Every system is operating at peak efficiency. The power flow curves they are beautiful. Admiral Xylith stepped closer to the viewport, watching as the ship's hull seemed to ripple with contained energy. Mr. Quinn, he called over the comm, are you prepared to attempt basic maneuvering? Marcus's laugh came back over the channel. Admiral, I think Alios and I are prepared for a bit more than that. Permission to show you what this ship can really do. The Admiral's scales shifted through several colors before settling on a decisive pattern. Permission granted. But please remember that vessel costs more than most planetary defense systems. Don't worry, Marcus replied, and they could hear the smile in his voice. Alios won't let me break his fancy quantum toys. Ready, partner? The ship's AI responded with what could only be described as enthusiasm, all systems synchronized. Quantum core at optimal resonance. Shall we dance, Marcus Quinn? The ship lifted from its berth with impossible grace, its movement so smooth that the dock sensors barely registered the motion. As it turned toward open space, its hull caught the light of the station's sun, transforming from midnight blue to a rippling aurora of colors. On the observation deck, General Kira's bioluminescence pulsed rapidly. It's not just accepting him. It's celebrating. Admiral Xylith watched as the ship began to move, its motion more like a living creature than a mechanical construct. No, he corrected quietly. They are celebrating. We wanted a pilot to control our most advanced vessel. Instead, we found someone who could teach it to fly. The ship accelerated into space, leaving a trail of quantum distortions that twisted light into impossible patterns. Inside the cockpit, Marcus Quinn, the cargo hauler who couldn't get into flight school, smiled as he felt the pure joy of a machine learning to dream. The test range in the Epsilon Void was notorious among Alliance pilots. Its quantum storms and gravitational eddies made conventional navigation nearly impossible. Perfect conditions, Admiral Xylith had decided, to evaluate just what their unconventional human-AI partnership could do. Marcus sat in the pilot's chair, his posture relaxed despite the swirling chaos visible through their viewports. Where military pilots sat rigidly at attention, he lounged like someone watching a sunset. His modified gravity compensator lay discarded on a side console. He'd found he could feel the ship's movements better without it. Incoming test parameters, Alios announced, displaying a series of increasingly complex challenges on the main screen. The Admiral appears determined to stress our capabilities. Marcus whistled low. High-speed navigation through quantum storms, weapons testing in probability-shifted space, and, is that last one a rescue scenario inside a temporal fold? Correct. Previous simulators could not complete more than 2 of these scenarios successfully. Previous simulators weren't us, Marcus grinned, his fingers dancing over the controls with casual confidence. Ready to show them what impossible looks like. The quantum storms ahead twisted reality into knots, creating corridors of warped spacetime that would tear conventional ships apart. The Alliance's best pilots had needed hours of calculations to plot safe routes through similar conditions. Marcus took one look at the swirling chaos and laughed. See that pattern? Reminds me of wind currents over the Martian canyons. Used to fly cargo skimmers there during dust storms. Fascinating comparison, Alios responded. Converting visual data to match Martian storm patterns. Adjusting quantum field harmonics accordingly. They dove into the maelstrom. Where other ships would have fought against the quantum currents, Alios and Marcus flowed with them. The ship spun and twisted through impossible angles, its quantum core harmonizing with the very chaos they navigated. In the observation vessel following at a safe distance, Commander Draxler's exoskeleton nearly locked up in shock. They are not just surviving the quantum storms, they are using them for propulsion. Admiral Xylith leaned forward, his scales shifting through patterns of disbelief and appreciation. How are they plotting their course through that chaos? They are not, General Kira replied, her bioluminescence pulsing rapidly as she studied the data. At least, not in any way our systems can recognize. The human appears to be improvising. Inside Alios, Marcus was in his element. Left there's too obvious, he muttered, jerking the ship right instead. A massive quantum surge filled the space they would have occupied. Storms always hide their worst punch in the obvious path. Conventional logic would have directed us left, Alios noted, adjusting its shields to surf the quantum wake. Your instinct defied probability calculations. That's the thing about probability, Marcus replied, spinning them through a corridor of twisted space. It tells you what should happen. Instinct tells you what will happen. Ready for the weapons test. The quantum storms had given way to a field of holographic targets, each shifting randomly through probability states. Hitting them with conventional weapons would be like trying to shoot yesterday's shadow. Weapons hot, Alios announced. Though I must note that my targeting systems are detecting 17 different probability states for each target. Marcus's hands settled on the quantum torpedo controls. Then we'll hit all 17. Show me what you see, partner. The neural interface deepened, and suddenly Marcus could perceive the probability streams flowing around each target. Where others might have seen chaos, he saw patterns, like reading the currents of a river by watching how leaves danced on its surface. Third target from the left, he murmured. Fire on my mark, now. The quantum torpedo launched, its trajectory seeming to bend through multiple realities at once. The target exploded in a cascade of probability waves that rippled through all 17 states simultaneously. Impossible! General Kira exclaimed from the observation ship. The mathematical complexity of that shot was never calculated, Admiral Xylith finished, his scales showing patterns of wonder. He felt it. Target after target fell, each shot threading through probability spaces in ways that defied conventional physics. Marcus and Alios moved as one, the human's intuition guiding the Ari's quantum precision. Then came the final test, a simulated civilian vessel trapped in a temporal fold, its crew minutes from death in all possible timelines. Standard procedure would be to calculate a safe approach vector, Alios began. Which would take too long, Marcus interrupted. The temporal fold is collapsing. We go in now. The risk factors are better than watching people die. Trust me, Alios. I've done crazier things in a cargo hauler. They plunged into the temporal fold. Reality fractured around them, time flowing in multiple directions at once. Marcus felt his consciousness stretching across several possible presents, but instead of fighting it, he embraced the disorientation. It's like being drunk in 4 dimensions, he laughed. No, wait, it's like that time I tried to land during a Jovian gravity storm. Same principle. Reality bends, but it doesn't break. Using instincts honed by years of flying through natural disasters, Marcus guided them through the temporal chaos. Alios's quantum systems adapted to his seemingly random course corrections, turning them into precisely calculated reality shifts. They reached the civilian vessel with seconds to spare in all timelines. The rescue, when it came, looked less like a military operation and more like a dance, a perfect fusion of human improvisation and quantum technology. As they emerged from the temporal fold, towing the rescued ship, Admiral Xylatha's voice came over the comm. "Congratulations, Mr. Quinn. I don't suppose you'd care to explain how you just did the impossible." Marcus looked at the swirling quantum displays, the probability matrices that should have taken teams of mathematicians to calculate, and shrugged. "Simple, really. I just flew the ship, and Alios made sure I didn't break physics too badly doing it. We adapted," Alios added. "Which, I believe, was the point all along." The Grand Council chamber of the Alliance hadn't seen such a diverse gathering in centuries. Representatives from 32 spacefaring civilizations filled the tiered seats, their attention fixed on the unusual pair standing before them, a human in a slightly wrinkled formal uniform and a holographic representation of Alios, manifesting as an intricate pattern of quantum light. 2 weeks had passed since the spectacular test flight in the Epsilon Void. News had spread quickly through the Alliance, stories of impossible maneuvers, of quantum physics being bent but not broken, of a cargo hauler and an AI rewriting what everyone thought they knew about space travel. High Chancellor Venn, her crystalline form refracting light in patterns of authority, spoke first. "We have reviewed the test data extensively. The results are challenging to our established understanding." Marcus shifted uncomfortably in his formal stance. He'd argued against wearing the uniform, but Admiral Xylath had insisted. "Challenging is one way to put it," he replied. "Revolutionary might be another." "Revolutionary," rumbled Council Elder KX Hal, his gas cloud form swirling with skepticism, "or dangerous. This human-AI integration bypasses every safety protocol we've established over centuries." Alios's holographic form pulsed thoughtfully. "With respect, Elder, those protocols were based on the assumption that AI must be controlled rather than collaborated with. Our partnership demonstrates a different approach." Admiral Xylath stepped forward, his scales showing formal presentation patterns. "The data is irrefutable. The Alios-Quinn partnership has achieved performance levels that our best projections suggested wouldn't be possible for another century." "Through chaos," protested another council member. "Through intuition and improvisation rather than proven methodologies." Marcus couldn't help but laugh, earning shocked looks from several councillors. "Sorry, but isn't that exactly how progress happens? Someone tries something new, something that breaks all the rules, and suddenly we understand that our rules weren't as absolute as we thought." He gestured to Alios's shimmering form. "Look, I'm just a cargo hauler. I learned to fly by feeling the way my ship moved, by understanding that space isn't just a void to calculate, it's alive with currents and patterns. Alios was built to be the perfect calculating machine, but what it really needed was someone who could help it see beyond pure calculation." Alios's hologram shifted, forming patterns that complemented Marcus's words. "The human capacity for intuitive understanding, what they call gut feeling, is not a flaw in their cognitive architecture. It is an evolutionary adaptation to processing complex systems without becoming paralyzed by analysis. When merged with our quantum computing capabilities, it creates something entirely new." The chamber erupted in overlapping discussions, thousands of years of established doctrine colliding with undeniable new evidence. High Chancellor Venn raised her crystalline appendages for silence. "Mr. Quinn," she said, "your methods are unorthodox, but your results—" She paused, her crystal facets shifting to show genuinely new patterns. "Your results suggest possibilities we had not considered. Alios, you were created to be the perfect expression of our technological achievement. Instead, you have become something more, a bridge between silicon and soul." Marcus felt Alios's presence through their neural link, a warm appreciation for the poetic description. "That's just it," he said. "We're not trying to replace your methods or prove them wrong. We're showing that there's room for something new. Something that combines the best of both approaches." Admiral Xylath stepped forward again. "The Alliance faces challenges that our traditional approaches struggle to address. Quantum anomalies are increasing throughout known space. The void storms at the galaxy's edge grow more unpredictable. Perhaps it's time we acknowledged that we need new ways of thinking. More than that," Alios added, its hologram expanding to display data from their test flights. "We need to recognize that true intelligence, whether artificial or organic, isn't about following predetermined paths. It's about adaptation, about finding new ways forward when the old ways fail. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, High Chancellor Ven spoke again. We propose a new division within the Alliance fleet. One that will explore the integration of human intuitive capabilities with our advanced AI systems. Mr. Quinn, we offer you the position of Chief Integration Specialist, with Alios as your partner in developing this program. Marcus blinked in surprise. You want me to teach other humans and AIs to do what we do? We want you to teach all of us, Ven corrected. To show us how to see beyond our assumptions, to find the patterns in chaos that our rigid thinking has missed. Marcus looked at Alios's holographic form, feeling the quiet amusement through their link. Well, partner. Ready to shake up the galaxy a bit more. Alios's form sparkled with what could only be described as joy. I believe, Marcus Quinn, that we already have. The real question is, are they ready for what comes next? Looking out at the assembled council, Marcus grinned. They better be. Because if there's one thing humans are good at, it's making the impossible look easy. And with partners like Alios, we're just getting started. The quantum lights in the chamber seemed to pulse in agreement, as if the very fabric of reality was eager to see what this new partnership between human intuition and artificial intelligence would discover next. The ship that had rejected every proper pilot had found not just a pilot, but a whole new way forward, one that would change not just the Alliance, but the very way sentient beings explored the stars.